up, everyone? Let's see, can you guys see me okay? How's that looking? Trying to get the guitar in, a little tricky here. What's up, Peter? Doing a little rocks playing today. So I want to talk about using Mixolydian in rock music. By the way, as I do, there's a 20% off Beato book for the live stream here. What is it, Carol?
RB601.
RB601 for the next 24 hours. I get asked about this a lot, about using Mixolydian in rock playing. If you're playing blues, if you're playing over, just any kind of chord progression that might have a major chord or dominant chord, where you would typically use a minor pentatonic or a blues scale, right? Now, what's the difference? Let's talk about what the difference between blues and pentatonic. Minor pentatonic is simply a 5-note scale. Now that would be, and anybody that has noticed me, oh, Brady, it's my nephew. I knew it. It's like anytime I see that notice me, it's always Brady. What's up, Brady? Anybody that's seen Brady, go to my second channel and you can see Dylan and Brady do the, what is it, the floss, Carol? Flossing? Not flossing of the teeth, but the dance from, what's that game that they play? Like that. Brady, what's that game you guys play? It's hilarious. Okay, so the difference between minor pentatonic and blues is the blues has an extra note. Right? So it has that flat fifth in it. There's your note. Right? Cool sound. But after a while, can I turn some gain off? No, I can't. That's Mixolydian there. So it uses this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it's using the flat 7 there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, flat 7, 8. Wait a second. If there's too much game, you're too old. Guess what, bro? If there's idiotic comments, you get banned. How do you like that? So there's your Mixolydian here. I'll do it from the low C. It really gives you a nicer sound, or at least a different sound than just playing your typical. Does that, wait, somebody asked this, does he get banned for life or just for this video? Andreas, guess what? Anders, is it? I'm not sure, actually. But hopefully banned for life, but probably not. You thought he was defending me? Okay, well, we'll look at it after. We'll check the tapes, and he'll get unbanned. So I'm playing C Mixolydian here, or F, the notes of F major. I mean, the F major can be anywhere. It can be down here. But starting on C. So if I take F major in this position, I'm actually playing C Mixolydian if I start on C. Okay? But you don't want to just play up and down the scale, although that can be effective too, as long as you end on the right note. But you want to develop some really cool lines. Okay, so I'm doing, let's see. let's see. It's tricky. That's cool. Oh, I like that. Wait. So that would be a cool Mixolydian line. What am I doing on that? So I start up here on the sus4 as if I'm playing a G or a C7 sus4 and what did I put? That's what I did. So that's not it exactly. Hold on. Yeah. And there's no chromatic notes in there. So that is Mixolydian right there. Now, you can play blues too, right? Totally different sound. Cool sound. You got that natural third in there, but when you combine the natural third and the flat third, and then all those cool Mixolydian notes that are cool, the 13. When I play that note, I'm implying like a C13. You can use the 13 and the flat third too, which is really cool. So you're kind of combining the two sounds. So, C7. I love that. That's more with I used a mix sharp 11 on that one. So right there, I start off. Very, very cool. As opposed to, right? That's Mixolydian too. That's mix sharp 11. Mix sharp 11. I did. Ooh, that's cool. So. Something like that. Love that sound though. Mix sharp, mix. There's so that sharp, that sus4 and the sharp 4 are cool to use. The sus4, you know, right there. You hear people play that, or so I'm using the sus4 to the 3rd. So all I'm doing on that lick there is playing the 4, the 3, the root, and the flat 7. Let's see. That's hard. Okay. Does Eric Johnson use Mixolydian? Of course he does. Sounds like Eric Johnson, right? That's that. That is really that sound. But a lot of guys use Mixolydian, or they'll use like you said, Tom Sawyer there. Alex Lifeson uses Mixolydian. Peter Frampton uses Mixolydian. Slash will use Mixolydian. Anytime you start hearing those notes, you know the Hard to Handle solo by Black Crowes, even though that's Brendan O'Brien playing. He's using Mixolydian all over the place. He combines that. He uses that 13th a lot. He uses the 9th a lot. You'll hear Stevie Ray Vaughan use it too. Stevie Ray will do those licks where, you know, if he's playing over C7. So using that flat, you can use this. So it's using actually the same kind of a thing. If I did it out of a blues. Start putting in some chromatic notes in there. Then you get a little bit more of a jazz sound, right? Right? So I'm using like Dorian, or I'm using Mixolydian, but with passing tunes. Love that sound. One of my favorites. Questions here. Santana uses Mixolydian as well. They use Mixolydian, they use Dorian and Mixolydian. It's the same thing though. If I'm playing C Mixolydian or G Dorian, I'm basically playing the same thing. If you're creating indefinitely, repeating modal changes back and forth, practice stuff, buy it from you. Wait, what's that? Backing tracks to practice stuff like this, you buy from you. Tyree, you can practice it over any progression. You know what you do? Get yourself a freeze pedal by Electro Harmonics. Play a chord and then just play over it, solo over it. It's really it's really handy for that. Or just record your own groove, your own backing track. Set up a groove, play a chord, play a couple chords, you know, or get any kind of backing track and play over it. It's really, the freeze pedal is really cool though. I like that. I don't have mine hooked up. I was just cleaning up the studio here. But I like to use that, or sometimes I'll just put a pad down with a drum machine on, and just play over one chord for an hour or so. Just don't play a major fifth chord, a major 5 chord. Oh, you mean you're talking about the 5 chord? If you're playing a blues? Yeah, if you're playing a blues and you go to the 5 chord and you're playing C Mixolydian, I'm going to G7. You got that B natural there, so you can't play that. That's why. You got to change scales on there. Okay, so if I'm at G7. So that note you have to account for if you're actually playing over a blues. Yeah. Did I get him before you, Carol?
Oh, man. I think you did.
I did. I beat you on it. Tom, Rick, you do not like me?
What?
You know what, Tom? Stop whining. God. You got a 5-year-old girl. What's up, bro? Come on, man. I already got a 5-year-old daughter. For the first chord, A Mixolydian would fit nice, and there's no 7th in the chord, so pretty much up for grabs. You can make it straight major. Holy snap, there you go. Why can't they just listen and learn, Ron? I know, right? How do players know this stuff? That is a great, great question. How do players know this stuff? You know, when I was growing up, there were no, boom! I just saw that. When I was growing up, there were no books really that taught these kind of things, especially about blues. You'd hear players like Albert King that would, you know, stick to the blues scale, to one blues scale. You'd hear players like B.B. King that used he'd play the minor blues scale, Albert King, and B.B. King would play the major blues scale and switch to the minor blues scale. He'd really kind of play over the different changes and everything. But nobody really talked about it. There was no YouTube. There was no tab. The only thing that you would figure out is when you just transcribe solos off the records. That was the tab of the day. You figure it out yourself, and you commit it to memory basically, and then you start incorporating your own playing. And everybody has their own particular way that they recombine ideas, you know? I'm talking before VHS. I saw VHS there. When I was growing up, VHS hadn't been invented yet. I mean, I started playing guitar when Zeppelin was together. So lift the needle, like Ron just said. That's what it was. And if you're lucky enough to meet people that could do different things, there's a guy that I lived in a small town in upstate New York. I've told this story once before on my other channel. There's a guy we had a lift bridge in through the center of my town was the Erie Canal. It's a small town in upstate New York. And the guy that ran the lift bridge one day, you never saw him. He was up in this tower. It was about 2 stories high. And the bridge would go up anytime that you'd need to have a boat would be too tall and have to go under it. So the bridge would raise up 2 stories or so. So one day I'm walking down the street and I hear this guy playing, great blues playing. I was like, what is that? Where's that coming from? And I look up and it's up in the lift bridge control room, right? And there was a stairway that went up there. And I thought, I'm going to go up there and talk to this guy. That sounds amazing. I was just hanging out there. So I decided to walk up there and I kind of peek in and there's this guy just jamming out on a Strat. And I kind of startled him. He's like, hey, what's up, man? I was like, man, it sounds amazing. He was playing some Mark Knopfler licks. I think he was working. I don't know what he was playing. He was like that kind of style. Hendrixy, Roy Buchanan, just all different kinds of blues players that were big at that time. And I remember I went in, I started talking to him, and I told him that I was taking guitar lessons and I was learning how to play jazz, teaching myself some stuff, and I'd learned Donna Lee by Charlie Parker. And he's like, Donna Lee, you know Donna Lee? And so I played him the head to Donna Lee. And he's like, man, I want to learn that. And I said, well, you got to teach me some of those things that you're playing. I want to know what that is. So anyway, so I'm sitting there and I say, and we were just going phrase by phrase. I teach him that and he picks it up immediately. He's a blues player, but he could play, he had the ear and the chops to play jazz. And then he would teach me things like, oh, on a major chord, on the 1 chord on a blues, use that flat third and the regular third. Use the major blues scale. Right? So I'd use that. He says, use that 13. That's a great note. And he knew it was the 13 because he had dabbled in playing bebop stuff too. So he was hip to those notes. And frankly, he heard B.B. King play that because B.B. King played the 13th, And then he said, when you go to the 4 chord, then you go to the regular minor pentatonic. Or you can still use that 13th because it's the third of that chord. But then when it comes back to the 1 chord, go to that third, use that third. And I was like, wow, that makes sense. I mean, I knew it from jazz, but I never would incorporate those jazz concepts into blues. And it really started to make sense. I was like, okay. I said, so what do you do? And coming back to this thing, what do you do when you go to the 5 chord? He goes, oh, well, that's a little different. He said, take whatever lick that you played on the 4 chord and move it up a step. That's one thing you do. There's my 4 chord. And he said, and give it a good augmented chord on the turnaround. I was like, wow. So right there, and I used to go by there all the time then. Every time he'd be up there playing, did I see somebody say Irondequoit there? Was that Irondequoit Bay Bridge? No, Peter, it was in Fairport where I'm from. It's the lift bridge in Fairport. So my hometown, where I'm from, where I grew up, is a small town called Fairport, New York. And there's a lift bridge that goes right through the center of town. You go across 2 sets of railroad tracks, and then up about another, 200 yards is the lift bridge. The lift bridge is probably only about maybe 50 feet long, but it actually goes up on an angle. But this guy worked there for probably a couple years. And it was really boring, so he brought his guitar. So he'd be sitting there watching to see if any boat came, and he'd just be shredding. And he got Donna Lee down, and any new thing I would learn, I'd come up there and show him, and he would show me all these different things, you know, rock things that were really blues things that nobody would teach you. And he was able to explain it because he actually crossed that bridge, so to speak, into players like Robin Ford and Larry Carlton. And this is really kind of where this is from. This is where I got it from. Danny Gatton is another person there, but this is really before you heard of Danny Gatton. This is in the 70s, you know? So, that confounded bridge, right? So that's kind of, that's the way that people used to learn. There was no live feed like this on YouTube, right? Where people can, where you can ask people. So that's when I started to incorporate that natural third and flat third and 13th and the 9th on the tonic chord in a blues. Right, there's the 9th. And then I started, when I heard Stevie Ray Vaughan and I heard him play, he did. He used that flat 9. Hey Rick, you said rock died?
He asked a question earlier.
What did he ask?
He said, hey Rick, you said the decline of usage of blues and rock led to its decline. What would you say to rock players trying to revive rock should do?
Play blues.
Without having to sound repetitive.
Without having to sound what?
Repetitious.
Repetitious. Well, the way you sound, that you don't sound repetitious is you put a modern thing on it, right? You add in a few cool notes, right? So you play your, you know. You had your Mixolydian, or you play. Or you put in some sub changes like that, right? Because that's where you get where it doesn't sound like your standard kind of blues licks, or it sounds more futuristic. So, I mean, that's really the slow down. I forget what I played. So there, that's not your standard blues licks, right? That's a little bit more modern. And I'm playing some sub changes in there. I forget what I played. So that's how you get it to sound where it's not cliche. I did take lessons at Rizzo's, Bill. I took lessons at Rizzo's when it was called Rizzo's. It's called Northfield Music. If any of you are in Rochester, want to go to a great music store, go to Northfield Music, because my friend Joe Chapone owns it. And he's a killer guitar player. And he used to be one of the teachers there when it was Rizzo's. But Tom Rizzo, that owned Rizzo's Music, I used to mow his lawn. He lived a couple blocks from me. That's kind of how I first started there. And Glenn Cummings was my guitar teacher. I had a couple different guitar teachers. I started with Tom Rizzo, then I went to Mark Minetta. Mark's no longer with us. And then Glenn Cummings. And they were all great teachers, all of them, and great players. You took bass from Ralph Ortiz. Ralph was great, man. He passed away, oh geez, probably 7, 8 years ago now. He was a young guy too. Yes, Imagine Sound Studio. Mixolydian gives you the flat 7 as opposed to Ionian. That's correct. You took from Todd Vulo. You know, so did my younger brother. Todd was murdered in a robbery. Tragic. He was a great guitar player, really killer. He moved to Texas and was killed, oh man, back in the 90s, early 90s. But my younger brother John studied guitar with Todd. He was an incredible, great guitar player. Played very West, played octaves really well. My brother really liked studying with him, and somebody robbed him after a gig and shot and killed him. Man, unbelievable. So, yeah, it was really, that was tragic. I couldn't believe when I heard that. I mean, really incredibly sad. Beato book 20% off for any of you that joined. RB 601, is that right, Carol? RB 601. I know it's horrible. Jari, Hungarian minor scale combines the best minor, major, Lydian, Mixolydian. Hungarian minor from my favorite parent scale of, who's got it? It's one of my biggest videos. What scales it come from? What? It's a mode from what scale? Come on, somebody. Jari, you know. Double harmonic major, yes, Ronnie, excellent. Double harmonic major, yes, fourth mode. One of my favorite scales. You bought 5 guitars, you bought 6 guitars in your lifetime and you don't play? Don, you're out of your mind. Quintuple harmonic minor. Which inversions am I using? I don't know what that means. Do I like the strokes? I do like the strokes. I saw the Strokes play a show here back in 2002. They played a 98.9X thing. I saw them play with 99 people. And I was sitting right on the edge of the stage, and they were killer. I love the Strokes. All right, so listen, we're good for today. Follow me on my Instagram. I'm going to tell you how to get the PDF for the Radiohead. How many of you seen the Radiohead video I did? What makes this song great? Radiohead.
I did.
Carol saw it. I'm going to put up where to get the PDF from. I need to post it someplace. So I'm going to post on there in just a little bit. My Instagram is rickbeato1. So follow me on there. You guys are awesome. Have a great day, okay?